What you are about to hear is highly classified.
And welcome back to Zone 4, everybody. I'm Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzo Goose, co-host and founder of the Zone 4 podcast, and I'm back with you for another Marvel Now #1 review. This time I'm looking at Avengers #1, which came out this week, December 5th. And, we've seen Uncanny Avengers, we've seen All New X-Men, and now we're getting Avengers. And this is by Jonathan Hickman, who people will know came off the Fantastic Four books most recently, and artist Jerome Opena, or Opena, depending on how you pronounce it. I don't know. But this particular story, it starts off with this narration, going through all these different events, saying this is not where it started, this is not where it started, but this is where it starts. And then we get to we shoot to the present, and we have Tony Stark contemplating things, and then he wakes Steve Rogers, Captain America, up, and they have this conversation, and it ends with them basically saying that they need to be bigger. So you kind of see where this is going from this point. So then they shoot the entire issue into the future month, and they're battling Ex Nihilo again, and they're waging war with him because he's been shooting fire and bombs to the earth, and they've sent the Avengers after him and his crew, and basically him and his crew hand the Avengers' butts to them. But as an example, they toss Cap back to Earth, which is kind of a little vehicle for him to be able to do what he needs to do on Earth. So that was kind of a little bit telegraphed, maybe even forced, to toss him back to Earth. And so, oh well, we need this guy on Earth so he can do this, so let's put him back. So anyway, it was a little bit of a sloppy writing there, in my opinion, in that one little part. But so Cap goes back, and he's like, and those words echo back, we need to think bigger. And then that's how it ends. And I'll get to that in a minute, but it ends with them getting bigger, basically. Now, as for the writing, I'm not a huge fan of Jonathan Hickman, but I don't necessarily have a problem with his style. It's just it's very hit and miss for me. Now, I have not read his independent stuff. I know he got really big doing some of his independent books, and that brought him up to Marvel, and some people loved the Fantastic Four run that he did. I was not a fan. I did like some of his Secret Avengers stuff, but I think he also did a Secret Warriors, maybe. So he has some knowledge of these characters. He's used these characters in this kind of storytelling before. This particular book was not as hard to follow as some of his other stuff that I've read. It was actually paced quite interestingly. Like I said, we open up with the narration discussing all these various events, and then we have this deep conversation with Tony and Steve, and then we go into the future, and we see that all this is taking us to this place where they're in this major battle and they need help, and that kind of reinstitutes what we knew pre all this other stuff, pre-disassembled and all that, what we knew as the Avengers, which was a huge team with reservists that could be called in at any time. And that's kind of what Hickman is taking it back to here, which I really appreciate, because I think that's really cool. I've always thought that was, they kind of went overboard with the fact that everybody in the Marvel Universe was an Avenger. Well, not literally, but pretty much there was a lot of Avengers. But still, at the same time, we've dealt with this core team of maybe 10 at most throughout the past decade, and so now it's nice to see us going back in this direction where we have all these reservists that can be called in when need be to help and assist. And so we see this whole battle, and Cap's thrown back, and a few days later he wakes up, with tubes sticking out of him, because he was basically thrown through the atmosphere and then landing on Earth. I don't know how even Steve Rogers survived that, but oh well. And there's also the whole issue of how is Steve Rogers battling ex nihilo and being tossed back to Earth at the same time, convincing Havoc to lead the Uncanny Avengers, and at the same time being stuck in Dimension Z. It's Marvel continuity is all over the place already with Marvel Now, and we're only into the third issues of some of these, and that's only because triple shipping. So, there are some problems, but overall, at the end, we get Steve basically hearing Tony's words in his ear. We need to be bigger, and he says a phrase, "Wake the world," which I would prefer going back classic Avengers Assemble, but "Wake the world," and boom, we have more Avengers. And again, I'll get to that in a minute. The artwork has me on the fence here. It's very good artwork. Jerome Opena is a very talented artist, has a very painterly style. His art is very refined. It's beautiful to look at. I have two issues with it though. One, he draws the Hulk like he's the guy on the front of Mad Magazine. It's not pretty. It is more reminiscent of your classic Hulk, but still, it's not pretty. And it makes him look even dumber than he is. But the other problem is, looking at this particular book, and I'd have to go back and look at some of the other books that he's done. I'm not sure if he colored his own work here or not, or if somebody else excuse me, colored it. Yeah, Dean White is actually the colorist, and he does a lot of John Romita Jr. Coloring, so no wonder I'm not crazy. I mean, the coloring is actually quite fantastic, and it matches Opena's artwork perfectly. I actually thought Opena may have painted this book, but no, it was a brilliant art. Now knowing that it is separate teams, I have to give props that it is so beautiful. But the other problem I had with it was that it looks very much like pinup art to me. Just the poses and the dynamism. Dynamism. Yeah, that's not a word. It is 5:30 in the morning. I apologize, but no, just the I don't know. There's not really stiffness, but just all the poses are something you would see on a painting or on a drawing, on a just a single drawing, like a cover or a pinup or something. Even the still scenes, even the small scenes of Tony and Steve talking, and just it doesn't jump out to me as comic sequential art. It just, personally, it looks like a bunch of pinups put together, beautifully put together, and beautifully flowing. So I don't know. I'm just kind of iffy on it. That's all. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. All right, so this Avengers team that I was talking about, and I had to look up some of their names because I wasn't quite sure who all of them were. But on the very last page of the issue, we have Captain America assembling this new team of Avengers, and some of them, were Avengers before. Some of them are a little bit new. Some of them are actually surprising to me. So I'm gonna spoil this. So if you don't want to spoil the last page of the issue, you can stop the review now. Actually, I'll go ahead and give you my score for this. My score for this issue is a 4 out of 5. Yeah, I have to take the point off for, like I said, the art being more pin-up-y, and everything, all the complaints I had, the little continuity fluctuations and all that stuff. I have to take a point off for that, but overall this was a very solid start to this particular series. It was a solid introductory first issue that you would expect from a book like this. We've gotten these kind of issues in Avengers before. We've gotten them in Justice League over in DC, when you're putting the team together. But this was I'll give it to Hickman, this was a very clever way to put the team together, as opposed to just having photos out on the table and saying, this guy. We've seen that before. This was done very cleverly. We didn't have a lot of exposition to tell us who was joining. We just got that last page telling us some of these reserves. So I appreciated that. Alright, so that's my score. If you don't want the last page spoiled, you can stop watching the review now. Otherwise, I'm going to spoil it. Alright, so this last page, and I'm going to go, let me just pull up the names of these things. So we have, before we get to that last page, Captain America is, he's getting his garb on, because like I said, he just got out of the hospital bed, so he's getting his garb on, and all this time there's narration going on. We'll assemble at dawn. We were Avengers, and then we get this last page, Captain America standing with his shield held high, and he's surrounded by all these Avengers, and the ones that Spider-Man. Of course, this looks like the Superior Spider-Man outfit, so not sure who this is yet. Spider-Woman, of course. We have Cannonball, who we've all seen from the cover, and looks to be in a new outfit. We have, of course, Captain Marvel, or Miss Marvel, however you want to say her name. I know she's Captain Marvel now, but we have Falcon. We have Wolverine. And then it gets interesting, because some of these I'm not sure if they've been actual Avengers or not. But we have Captain Universe, which is a female. I don't know who's under the outfit. I haven't been keeping up with that, but obviously she has the power cosmic. Well, not the power cosmic, whatever the Captain Universe powers that several characters have had, not the power cosmic. We also have, I believe his name is Manifold. He was from either Secret Avengers or Secret Warriors, which, he's a Hickman carryover. Hickman may have even created that character. I'm not sure. We have Shang-Chi. Yes, the Master of Kung Fu is on the Avengers. My buddy, good Bill Gladman, will be happy to hear that if he ever checks this one out. Sunspot. Of course, Sunspot and Cannonball know each other very well from X-Force and all those stories. We have a female version of Smasher. I'm not really familiar with this character. I had to look this one up. So Smasher. And last but not least, certainly not least, filling the Sentry quota of the team, Hyperion. Yes, the original Hyperion from the Squadron Supreme, not the Max version with Michael Straczynski's version of it, which I loved. But no, the classic Hyperion with the big gold waist belt and everything. So we have a Superman character on the Avengers again. Not sure how anybody's going to feel about that, but it is interesting. It's very, very cool. So those are your new Avengers. Well, I take that back. There's going to be a new Avengers title. This is not New Avengers. This is Avengers. So these are your Avengers. And yeah. That's how the issue ends, and we see where things go from here. Obviously, most of the original Avengers, Thor, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and all those, they're captured by Ex Nihilo on this planet, and Captain America has assembled this team to go rescue them. So, I mean, you got Captain Universe, you got Hyperion, you got Wolverine, you got Spider-Man. I mean, come on. This is a superstar team. This is a... power level wise, it's a Justice League level team, not star power wise, but power level wise. So it's gonna be interesting to see where things go. So again, my score 4 out of 5. Solid writing, great intro, beautiful art, though a little pin-uppy. And that's going to wrap me up for this Marvel Now #1 review. Thanks for checking it out. Check back with me for my look at Thunderbolts #1 upcoming, and I'll probably also do All New X-Men #3, which also came out this week, so I'll be on the lookout for that one as well. Please check out Zone 4, new episode tomorrow, and we'll be talking about some headlines, and we'll talk about our favorite, or what we think is the best franchise overall from comics. So please check that out. Zone4podcast.com, comicrelated.com, iTunes. Check us out on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and all the various other channels. And you can listen to / watch the entire episode on Dark Avenger Inc.'s YouTube channel on every Sunday. So this is episode 195. We still have our new listener drive going on, so listen for that. And again, thanks for watching.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.